Morning guys, want to show you something here. Yeah, we get to the weather soon, hang on. So these are the two side lids which I have prepared yesterday. So I put some masking tape on top of these openings and then smeared this gap filler from behind, and I removed the masking tape this morning and look at the result. Look at this. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Only here there were some wrinkles obviously in the masking tape, and of course these are building up now in the gap filler. But look at this, it's not too bad. Let's see how we go here. Oh, I'm absolutely astonished about this result. That is smooth and it looks really good. Okay, but now to the weather. Guys, welcome back to the off-grid garage here in sunny hot Australia. It's not too bad, right? It's not too bad. So today I'm charging the Frankenstein battery from our pool fence system because I need to get this battery full to test the 100 balance BMS. Yep, this is still on the agenda. And I want to show you something else here. I have connected several devices overnight to my POE switch, the POE camera. I also had the Intel NUC computer running here overnight, all from these boost converters here, and they're not getting warm. The POE switch is not getting warm. Okay, there's only one camera. There are two devices, two POE devices connected. This one is connected. This one is a bit warm here, but nothing here. No heat building up at the moment at least. And we are pulling only half an amp from the 12-volt system. So that seems to work quite well actually. Very good, very good. We can actually remove all these ones. Oh, beautiful. I think the gap filler was the right decision, better than silicon. Silicon is just too soft, especially for these larger openings here. I think the gap filler becomes a bit more solid. Yeah, that is amazing. Can hardly feel it. Despite all the concerns I read in my comments, Andy has pulled it off once again. And we are on 25% state of charge, 92 amps outside. Yes! And the SPED calibration center doesn't show any state of charge at the moment because the 100 balance BMS is not connected to the Servo GX at the moment. We are CAN, but apparently it can. So we've got 5 amps outside of the pool fence. And we are at 54.18 volts already. So I guess we are around 90% state of charge already with the Frankenstein battery. Shouldn't take too long anymore. Oh, that's disgusting. I found some Chinese chewing gum. They came with the Zeplos BMSs. So, and there is our design. It started raining. The Norwegian weather forecast, which I have on my home assistant. There is a possibility of a shower from 12 o'clock. It is 12:20 now. They are far more precise than the Australian weather forecast. Unbelievable. Okay, so this piece of duct will go behind our network shelf all the way up here from the bottom to the top, and it has this gap there. This is exactly where our is. And I'll leave a gap at the top to go out with the cable, network cables going to the cameras, and also there's a gap here at the bottom to feed in the cables. And this should give us enough capacity here for all the network cables coming in and out of this network box. And then we have this plastic pipe here, this conduit sitting down here underneath the window. It is just to protect the network cables basically. So I'm using 4mm cable. Oh, already there. So we have our power supply cables, positive, negative, here already up at the shelf. And then over here I put them into a split loom so we can pull them through one of the clans. Man, this is a rat's nest down here. Glad you can't see that. All these USB connections, they will all be gone. I will be using only these isolated 4-port VE.Direct adapters. Then I've got only 2 USB cables plugging into the Raspberry Pi. 2 USB cables to communicate with all these devices. 2 cables, 2, not 639 like now. I hate this. Look at this rat's nest. Disgusting. Here they are. Okay, I think this is all the length I need. Cleaned up the whole workbench kind of situation here. Got rid of the old monitor, cleaned up the top shelf. So much more space. And good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the Offcut Garage here. It is now the next day. It is beautiful out there and I needed 19%. 50 amps outside, and the tilt system has 3 amps outside. Charging the Zeblos Polo again. It was on under 10%, so I thought I'd give it some juice, lift it up to 40-50%, and then I can store it again. Okay, I think the glue has now cured. We can take off all this tape here. Yeah, that is that is now part of the garage structure. Okay, we have now the 12-volt cable here in the top compartment. It's not connected yet to the 12-volt DC-DC converter. And we have the other end over here ready to connect to our network cabinet, which will go in this location there. I made some stickers here to put on the conduit and cable duct. I have not removed the tape yet. I'll probably give it another day because what I put in there on the back side is fairly thick. So I give it another 24 hours at least before I remove that, or maybe a couple of days even. So it's nice and finished. I really like this. That looks so cool. This black color with the charcoal now. So I'm now drilling holes here in the underside of the network cabinet. This is the underside. And these screws will go in and act as a pin to hold the air filter in place. Nut from the other side. And that's it. So this pin will hold the air filter in place. And it also doesn't interfere with our rail. I checked that before. I use the camera monitor to see what I'm actually doing here. Cool! That works well. So these are the last preparations before the cabinet goes up in the roof space. I've still got the maintenance opening from this side and from the front, of course. That should give me enough access to all the components inside here. Okay, I think Alright, my friends, I apologize for the bad lighting conditions, but we need to install an LED strip light here at some stage, I guess. So I have now connected the fuse block here with a positive and negative over there. Oh, this had a bit of a kink here. Let me fix this right away. So that's better. And I've used some split loom here to organize these two cables straight away, so keep them separate from all the network cables which are coming in soon. We've got the power supply for our computer and for the PoE switch here ready to go. So this just needs to be mounted inside the cabinet and connected. You won't believe it, guys. I was just going to connect the negative cable here on this stud, and I could feel that it actually spins while I'm tightening the nut. So I hope there's nothing broken underneath here, and it is just this nut here at the bottom, which is now the whole, yeah, see, this one is tight and this one keeps spinning. Really? Do I have to take this fuse block apart now? Oh, come on, give me a break here. I was just going to say, look at these thin cables, but this is just for the LEDs. Now this is good, this is the positive. So I think we've got a similar issue here. Yeah, this is spinning. Okay, so I'm really tightening that. Oh yes. Yeah, see, the nut sits only in this little plastic chamber here, and this is not strong enough to hold it against when I'm tightening the nuts on the top. Well, there's always something, eh? Well, to reach the 12-volt output terminals of the DC to DC converter, we have to turn this one off here. And this converter is connected to the same fuse or breaker as the 5-volt converter, which supplies power to the Raspberry Pi. So if you turn this one off, the whole 5-volt and 12-volt compartment will be dead. I have to shut down the Raspberry Pi for a moment. I have to apologize for not updating the VRM anymore for the next 30 minutes. Okay, this one is shutting down. It's just the power light of the Pi and the CAN head, but no activity anymore. I think we are good. Wow, I've never turned this one off before, never ever. Okay, we are now without power here in the 12-volt compartment. Everything else, of course, keeps running. Not sure, have I used ferrules here? Yes, I did. Okay, let me take these ones out and see how we go. Okay, positive and negative. I'm putting bootlaces on here as well. And I also managed to get 2 bootlaces into this terminal of the Orion DC to DC converter without any problems. And I tightened the screw and everything was nice and tight. So I'm just writing on here, negative, positive. Okay. Oh yeah, that's bombenfest. I was a bit concerned about how I actually managed to get all these cables and these terminals here, but the terminals are large enough to cope with 2 cables, so that's cool. It is a bit of gewirr here. Yes, they're in. All right, let's tighten it. And then I'll take the mobile phone and take a photo and see how it actually looks like. You can see the 2 positive and 2 negatives. Yeah, and they're really tight. And this is the incoming red and black 48 volt. Then we've got the 2 negatives and the 2 positives there. I think this is okay. Okay, then I guess the big moment is here. Turning on the circuit breaker again. It's holding. The red light is coming on. The Raspberry Pi is booting up again. We've got a green light here on the DC to DC converter. So in theory, we should have 12 volt on the fuse block. 12.14 volts. And we also have two red lights here on the fuse block because there are no fuses inside to power the boost converters. Geez, buck boost. Glad you're asking. I have decided against another fuse or another main switch for the power supply of the network cabinet up there. Because the Victron DC to DC converter in here is short circuit protected. So that means even if we have a short on this 12 volt output, it doesn't destroy the device. It delivers the 20 amps and that's it. And we're using a 4mm cable. So there's no problem for this cable to carry 20 amps continuously. I mean, we've got a 48 volt breaker and main switch, so to speak, here. This is on the 48 volt side of this DC to DC converter. And if something goes wrong, if something is not working, if there's a short or something, I have to flick the breaker anyway. So yeah, at the moment, it's directly connected to the output of this inverter and going to the fuse block up there in the network cabinet. And then we are fusing our separate loads in this cabinet. So this POE splitter here will go to the outside where the antenna sits. So as you can see, this one is still powered by a USB cable. And I want to remove this one as well and use the network cable as a POE. But of course, this antenna is not a POE device, so I need to get this POE splitter here. This is where the network cable plugs in back to our POE router. This is the network cable which plugs into the antenna. And this is the 5 volt micro USB to supply power to this antenna. And this antenna connects via a 5 GHz network back to the antenna on top of the house. Gives me the full bandwidth of my internet connection in the garage, but the latency is not that great. But for everything I'm doing in the garage, that's totally fine. So it is now time to move the first network components inside the new network cabinet. Of course, we are starting with a PoE switch here. Hopefully it works with the splitter on the other side then. I've never tested it before. We will see. Alright, you can't see shit in here. The PoE switch is working, got a red power light and a green flashing light for the communication. Let's go to the other side and plug in this converter splitter. So this is actually not really an antenna, it is the TP-Link travel router. It's called the WR902AC. So it's a Wi-Fi to LAN adapter basically. It picks up the signal from the Wi-Fi and converts it into LAN. So we plug the network back in here and power supply in here. And this is where our PoE cable goes in now, and there should be everything we need. Okay, first time testing it. Well, we've got a yellow light, that's good. And we've got a green light here, so it gets power. Oh no, it's flashing. I thought it's off again. No, it's flashing. Okay, it's booting up now. I'll just put this back in my professional clamp. And we should see several green lights. I think one is power, the other one is link, and the third one is activity or so. Let's see. Yes, 3 green lights. It is working. Amazing. So we should see actually nothing here, nothing serious, because there's nothing connected, so there's no traffic. Next thing would be to plug in the router, but we need to make a power cable for this one because this is directly powered by 12 volt. Potentially we can just use the one it is connected to at the moment. Well, usually I would not recommend soldering these ring lugs, but in this case I don't have the right size. Because these cables are so thin here, I don't have the correct size on ring lugs. So I'm just putting a bit of solder. So what I've done now is I kept the round connector for the actual access point. This is the normal power supply for it. And on the other side of the cable, we've got now 2 ring terminals which will connect directly to our fuse block. And then we run this device directly from the 12 volt. And as always, Velcro is your friend. Velcro and silicone, right? I'll link this down below. As well as Miss Piggy, of course. And all the other shit we have worked with today. So we've got flashing lights. It means some traffic is going through here. Connected the Wi-Fi access point to the 12-volt power supply and also with a yellow patch cable back to a non-POE port of the POE switch. Got both fuses in there. This is all running. We've got full lights. It says it is connected. And the VRM is working. Wow. We are back on Wi-Fi. And we also have a real-time connection now back to the Raspberry Pi. Because if the network fails for the Raspberry Pi, it takes 2 or 3 minutes or so, and then it falls back to Wi-Fi automatically. So now it connects, I think it connects actually back to the house Wi-Fi on top of the house. Maybe it switches at some stage to this one now here because this signal is stronger. But yay, this is all working. Fantastic. So I have to pull the cable for the Raspberry Pi back. It's at the moment it is in the conduit somewhere with the solar cables together. I pull this back and then we go into the conduit together with the cable for the computer, and then up in the duct up there, brush plate coming in, connecting to the switch, done. And potentially tonight I will move the Home Assistant in here and see how this works. And then I can finally show you why I wanted the Home Assistant device in here in the off-grid garage. Because then it comes back to the battery and solar tech we are doing. These two end caps are actually looking pretty good. So just for testing purposes, I also plugged in the Zigbee to Ethernet bridge. And this is a PoE device as well. Got 3 green lights now. It works. Okay, my friends, I think that's it for the video today. We have installed and connected the network cabinet finally here, supplying power and network now to the cabinet, and it seems to work. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your great support here. These beautiful people donating to the channel, everyone who is liking and leaving comments. This all helps and makes these videos possible. So thank you very much to everyone, and welcome to all the new subscribers. Are we at 86 already? I don't know. People tell me in the comments. Andy, you need to update your numbers. Until the next video, guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye-bye.